Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of my new favorite SMGs in the entire game, the Bullfrog. I'm going to be talking about why I think it really is so good, even though if you look at the raw time to kill, it doesn't seem like it should be that good. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to be giving you the attachments and everything in about 10 or so seconds. I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a good day, and let's get into it. So the main thing about the Bullfrog is that it is just a perfect balance of almost everything. The mobility and the handling speed is amazing. The damage is really good, especially if you're hitting a headshot. And it comes with the 65 round mag, which means you really don't have to reload that often. This is one of also the best SMGs for the casual player in my opinion, because the recoil is so minimal and it's just outright one of the best SMGs in the entire game right now. I really just don't want to compare it to something like the Owen gun, because if you were to look at the stats, the Owen gun just kills so much faster in terms of chest time to kill than the Bullfrog that you wouldn't think it's comparable. But when you factor in things like recoil, when you factor in things like mobility, ADS, sprint to fire, that's where the Bulldog shines. I mean, not the Bullfrog, not the Bulldog. The other thing is if you fit in one or two headshots, as I said before, your time to kill goes through the roof and you suddenly have an SMG that's competitive with almost any gun in the entire game. That's why I like this thing so much. I know I talked about the ADS speeds and the sprint to fire times, but that's something that's really underrated. When you have a faster ADS time, when you have a faster sprint to fire time, that means you can aim in quicker, that means you can catch people off guard quicker, and it just means you're overall more prepared for enemies. And when you have an SMG that has super quick handling times like that, you are just overall going to be in a better position. The other thing that I also like about it, and I've talked about it before and I mentioned it earlier, is the recoil. The recoil is actually very minimal in terms of the damage and the overall feel, and it's one of the easier recoils to control. And this makes the Bullfrog one of the more interesting guns in Warzone. Because it has such a high headshot damage multiplier, and because it has such low recoil, that means it has a very low skill floor to use, and it also has a very high skill ceiling. So this means it's a very easy gun to use, but if you get good with it and you get really good at hitting headshots, you will be rewarded, and that's where the whole skill cap thing comes in. It has a very high skill ceiling and it has a very low skill floor, and that is amazing for a gun. That is an extremely rare combination in Warzone, because if you think of easy to use guns like the Milano and Kilo, their main trade-off for being that easy to use is they don't have that much damage. So for the Bullfrog to have decent damage in general, for it to be pretty easy to use overall, and then for it to have that whole headshot thing and reward highly skilled players, that really makes it stand out, because it's a perfect combination for almost any player. You can be an ultra quote-unquote sweat like myself and it's a good gun. You can be a casual player with the 1 KD and it's a good gun. You can be someone looking for a sniper support, it's a good gun. You can be someone who has a 1.5 KD, they play with their friends, they're kind of good, they're pretty good at getting wins but not getting high kill games. It's a good gun. I know I just covered a ton of different players and that was a little bit of a tangent, but the whole point I'm trying to get across is this gun is good for almost any player, and you should definitely give it a try. I know I keep harping on it, I know I keep talking about a lot of these things, but that's the whole point of this video. I want to try and focus on single guns that I do think people should use, because sometimes when I do my normal gun videos, I get lost in the sauce. I start talking about a bunch of different guns, and there's certain guns like the Bullfrog, the PKM, that I feel like should be highlighted because they really are that good, and if I don't talk about them in an individual video like this, they aren't going to stand out. The other main drawback with the Bullfrog I want to get across to people is you have to watch out for shooting lower limbs. What I mean by this is that if you shoot someone's forearm in comparison to shooting their bicep or their upper shoulder, you are going to do significantly less damage with a lot of guns in Warzone. It also applies to the legs. So for example, if you shoot someone's shin rather than shooting their thigh, you're going to do significantly less damage. For example, on the Bullfrog, if you shoot their bicep, the time to kill is 640 milliseconds. If you were to shoot their forearm, the time to kill would be 720 milliseconds. This is an 80 millisecond difference, and that's actually pretty significant when you're talking about gunfights. I also will say that I think the Bullfrog performs very similarly to guns like the Cold War PPSH, to things like the MAC-10 and guns like that. So if you like the Bullfrog but you kind of want to try something else, maybe try the MAC-10, maybe try the PPSH from Vanguard. There's a lot of different options right now, and because they nerfed a lot of the different close range guns from Vanguard, a lot more of these Cold War SMGs are getting a chance to shine, and that's why I also wanted to talk about it. Because for the last couple months, guns like the Owen gun, the Type 100, and the MP40 were so good and so dominant, there really wasn't a place in the meta for guns like the Bullfrog, for guns like the Colder MP5, OTS, the MAC-10, and all of those. And I feel like almost all of those guns are back to being meta again, and that's why I really want to talk about the Bullfrog in particular, because when I was trying a bunch of different SMGs, this was the one that stood out. Whenever I told someone to give it a try, they ended up really enjoying it, and I promise I think you're going to enjoy it too. I can't guarantee it, and I'm not saying it's the best SMG. I'm not even saying it's outright like an S tier SMG. I think it's A tier SMG. I think it can be S tier based on your aim and your ability to hit headshots. But I think, as I said before, when you just factor in the mobility, the damage, the overall feel of the gun, the low recoil, and things like that, it's gonna be a pretty good gun, and I'd recommend it for almost any player because it fits every single skill tier of player in Warzone, and I think that's extremely rare for a gun like this. There's a couple changes you could do to the build. For example, if you want to use it more of a sniper support, put on the task force barrel. If you want to use it as kind of like even more mobile than this, you can take the serpent wrap and put off the bruiser grip, and that's going to make you one of the fastest and speediest builds in the entire game, and it's actually a really fun build to use. I'm going to start wrapping this video up here pretty shortly, and I just want to say thank you to everyone. I am currently on vacation in the Netherlands and Germany, and I just want to say thank you to everyone on my channel who's helped me and supported me to 1,000 subscribers. This is just the beginning of my journey. This is really just the start. I plan on making videos from here until Warzone 2 comes out and way beyond, and I just can't wait to see where we go. I owe almost everything to you guys, and I just cannot say thank you enough. I'm super appreciative, and you guys are just amazing for helping me get to this point. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, it's been Ryan. Peace.